We have sort of deviated from normal procedures with conferences like that, because we all know how difficult it is to get the younger generation engaged. So we thought we could bridge the gap by asking young staffers from the Federal Republic and as well from the US to step in and sort of give her or hers or their personal assessment to what we are discussing.
I believe that the Transatlantic Alliance in both the public and private sectors has a lot of work to do and a lot of work that we are capable of to bring some of those youth in the troubled regions of the world into the global economy and show them alternatives that look a whole lot different from violence and instability.
We as states are allies, not friends. We do not have to understand every single step that our ally takes. We assist each other, and we should always treat each other with fairness and respect. But maybe it does not have to hurt if the two countries try to always stay on the safe side, to always watch their own country's interests, especially when it comes to national security. Let us, as people, Germans and Americans, try to establish and maintain friendships. But let us at the same time accept the fact that our two countries cannot and will not be more than good and hopefully great partners for a very long time. Thank you very much.
My proposition is that despite the frictions over Iraq, Jeanette, yes, over NSA, Guantanamo, drones, many other issues, at heart, the critical shared values that we have are as important or if not more important than ever. And they are values that we should be embracing, boldly celebrating and advancing: democracy, free markets, free media, free transparency, the rule of law, respect for human rights and dignity, equal opportunity, tolerance, acceptance of diversity.
Ukraine has caught us by surprise. We were surprised. We were not prepared. And it is perhaps Putin who forces us to be aware of our values and that we share common values. Now we see that we have entered a new era, and I would say it is the era of global disorder. And Putin is one example who demonstrates that what we thought has been a given, the European peace order, as a result, a historical result of the bloodshed of the 20th century, is not a given, but that we have to defend it. And we see that it's not that easy to come to unity, to European unity, to transatlantic unity, to present Putin the borders and limits.
And the Place Schumann in Brussels, hidden there somewhere, is a monument of the first founder of NATO and the European Union, that is Joseph Stalin. Because it was that threat at that time which had impact, and Vladimir Putin is on a way to get a second monument. But we had all the opinion that nothing really can happen what is seriously, because everyone believed that the clear conditions of international law would be applied by everyone in Europe, even if there are different interests. And all different interests would be solved within the framework of international law. Now we have a situation in Europe that, because we were not aware of that, on both sides we discussed our shortcomings as the main questions. And as Norbert Röttgen rightly said, trust and confidence was gone. The relationship between security and freedom in the wrong way after 9/11. Security became too much important. But they are living democracy where they can find the balance again by internal debates and fights. That makes the difference. This makes a difference to our neighbor in the East and to China. And even if I do not agree with the United States in many decisions, I have the feeling that at the end of the day they try to get that balance, which makes us similar, that it's all different to all other big powers which are under authoritarian rule. And therefore, we should find the right level, criticize our partners when it's against our interest, if they do wrong things, but do not make the way that you believe that the home of Snowden is a more peaceful and free place as the United States is.
If you look at the current situation from a business perspective, there is
I would really say no big impact to the business relations, and that is because we share common values not only in society but also in the business. If we look at the European, German investments in the US, recent, they are growing because they believe in this market and they believe in the partners over in the US to make business with them based on what we have experienced over the last couple of decades.
It's easy when you're part of one family and then people have different choices and they do different things to criticize and point fingers and get upset. But those are still small differences when compared with where the big values gaps are. We have thus far deliberately limited our responses to these crises that we face in Europe to economic and political measures, sanctions, for example. But we are facing an adversary who is using military measures to dictate facts on the ground. And I believe that not only is that a disparity that can't be sustained, but I think it actually feeds Putin's appetite to believe that if he can get away with this, he can get away with the next thing, he can get away with the next thing.
All those instances have led to a negative impact to the common values that we share. Trustworthiness, we have said free trade is great, but some people here in Germany, they fear that it is only for the favor of one party. Private security, data security, people have really the fear that they are not secured and that people know about what they do that shouldn't know that. And all those things have led to this negative picture and negative habit against the US. And what Russia has done, and that's clearly, it was on the table here, I think many people don't see that as strong impacting their values as they see it from the American side.
One of the points that needs to be stressed is that expectations of the United States are higher than they are of, say, Russia, for example. No one thinks that Russia is a perfect democracy. The United States, big power in the world, great responsibilities, and also holds itself as an example of democracy. So when we screw up or do things, that is held to a higher standard. The second point is that I think in recent years, and we can go back, say, 10, 15, U.S. administrations have not done a good job explaining, communicating, making the case. I think that take the NSA scandal in Germany, it's one thing to have it, and then it was compounded by failure to really grasp what the concern and the level of concern was in Germany and to respond to that in an appropriate and public way at a very senior level. And I think we missed that and actually made it worse.